Today I'm gonna show you the 6 things I wish I knew before jumping into the Illuvium Overworld, before starting to farm for airdrops, before hunting those illuvials. And those things, some of them are gonna be more for beginners, some of them are gonna be more for advanced people. I think everybody can take some good tips away from this video, so enjoy and let's jump right into it. So one of the most important things in the Illuvium Overworld, especially if you're all about capturing illuvials, it's gonna be those little things. That's one of the 9 different plants that you can harvest. And you're gonna need to harvest those plants to get consumables. So we're gonna shoot it down. Now you're gonna get that jelly fruit right here. It's a rare jelly fruit because we're in a stage 3 run. The higher the stage of the run, the rarer those consumables are and the better those consumables are. Let's talk quickly about the 9 different consumables we have here. So we get the basket fruit, which gives you extra health regen, which is really good on some illuvials that are taking damage, but not too much. So if they're taking a medium amount of damage and they're not getting focused down too fast, those are really good to heal back up that little bit of damage that they keep consistently getting. Next up, we got the flint cap. It gives you more XP in the fight, which is obviously really important if you want to fuse your illuvials. Because if you want to fuse your 3 illuvials into the next stage, they need to have a certain level. Next up, the pop spore, 20 thorns on the next combat, which means every time they're getting hit, the enemy takes 20 damage. Then we got the ring nut. The ring nut gives you shard integrity back. And basically this means if you keep fighting and fighting and fighting, your shard integrity of your illuvials goes down. This is kind of like in Pokemon when you go through a cave, right? After the 3rd, 5th, 6th fight, maybe some illuvials are damaged or some Pokemons, some of them are dead and you need to revive them. And this is kind of what shard integrity is for. So if you fight a few fights, your integrity goes down. And once it's at 0, you cannot use those illuvials anymore. But you can use the ring nut to restore that shard integrity. Next up, we got the spike juice, gives you omnivamp, and this is basically life steal. So 14% omnivamp right here. If you do 100 damage, you get 14 life back. Your illuvial gets back 14% of the damage they deal. Then we got the rare dragon egg right here, arguably one of the best consumables in the game because it gives you true damage around your equipped illuvial. So for example, if you build a sustain team with a lot of empaths, healing, shielding, then this can be the damage that you need to actually win those encounters. Next up, I think this is the best one in the game, the Flora Ball, because this one you need pretty much in every encounter, because every encounter that you do, you need a tank. And this is the best for your tanks. It gives you resistances and max health. Then next up, we got the 2 that are best for your damage dealer. First up, the Gumbo Drop, which gives you attack speed and attack damage. So this is the best consumable for your rogues and fighters, which are, I think, the best class, especially early on in the game, for you to succeed and get to stage 1, stage 2, and so on. And next up, we got the Jelly Fruit, which gives you Omega Power. This is for your casters, for your empaths. And it also gives you energy regen. So your abilities are gonna do more and they're gonna happen more often. Next up, this is gonna be very important if you're hunting down illuvials. If you're shooting down illuvials, it's gonna be your G ability. You enable it by equipping a weapon right here in the inventory. So for example, I can drag my Scion Air weapon right here, and then you can read in the bottom, Overworld ability creates a gravity well for 1 second, dealing extra damage per second and pulling the illuvial towards it. I prefer the sword. It gives me homing missiles, it increases the damage, and paired with a Mozart, I think this is a real good combination. Let's check it out. I'm gonna show you in game. Before we jump into a run really quickly, next to the leaderboard house right here, we have the character setup, and this is where you can actually change your drone down here. I prefer Mozart at the moment. I start with Choppin, but it doesn't work good with the sword ability. Maybe there's a perfect setup right now, but this is going to be subject to change. So what I would suggest to you, just try them all out, play around, and get to know all of them because they have all very individual abilities, and you want to select whatever fits your playstyle the best and also your weapon ability and so on. Alrighty, now we're in a run and we're gonna try out the ability paired with our drone ability. And I just wanted to show you what's my favorite place for farming in the Brightland Steppes right here. It's right up there. This platform here is my favorite spot. It's nice and open. It usually has a lot of things. If you press the H key and activate the heat sensor and it's actually in red. If it's blue, that can happen, then there's gonna be nothing, right? There is not the perfect spot where you're gonna be farming because it all is randomly generated each run. So this time I know, hey, this platform is all red. This means there's gonna be a lot of stuff, and this means I'm gonna go there and check it out. This is just beautiful. Look at that. Just stuff over stuff over stuff paired with illuvials. And now we're gonna try it out. I like to first just shoot at the illuvial. So we're gonna start, and once I know, okay, I have a straight line, it's gonna run away from me in a straight line. Now I'm gonna activate Mozart. Takes a while to wind up. Now he's binding him, and now I activated my Chi ability. You can see it right here. It's those improved shots. They're gonna do extra damage and are gonna be homing. So I recommend this combination of Sword plus Mozart, because Mozart is gonna bind the enemy Illuvial, is gonna slow it down. He's actually gonna ride it. He throws a lasso on it and rides it. And then we have the improved shots from our rifle with the weapon ability Sword, which is also gonna give us homing and extra damage, which even in a stage 3 run, you can instantly shoot down that Illuvial and you're not gonna miss any shots because they're slowed from Mozart and you're actually heat-seeking homing missiles from your rifle at that moment. Next up, you might have seen something like this right here. So if you press Q, you can see this weird teleporty thing right here, and you cannot use it right now. If you jump through it, nothing happens. This activates once you're below 150 energy, and then we can jump through them and get extra energy. The first one is going to give you 300 extra energy, second 150, third 175, and so on. So it's always going to get half value. So after like 3-4 of them, they're not really worth getting them anymore. This is very useful. For example, you're down with energy, you're about to leave, and suddenly you see a very rare Illuvial. Suddenly you see a Rampfire. What are you gonna do? You're gonna put a teleport beacon there. You're gonna go to all those airgun rifts. If you get enough of them, you can always get enough energy to do one more Illuvial encounter. And what I like to do if I see them, boom, I press T. This is gonna put down a teleport beacon right here, and then I keep on with my run. And if I'm at the end of my run, I feel like I need some extra energy, wanna use that airgun rift, I can just teleport here and then go through the airgun rift and start farming a little bit. So it might be beneficial to keep some resources next to it if you want to be very fast. So you teleport here, you go through that airgun rift, and then you start farming those things that you left over next to it. I'm usually not patient enough and just take whatever I can see, but that's a nice way to optimize things, right? You want to know why this mushroom is looking so happy? Because he clicked that subscribe button, helped the channel, is not missing out on any content? Be like mushroom. Click that button. Be happy. All right, let's quickly talk about some team composition that you might want to use when you're starting out, when you first like going into stage 0 runs, stage 1 runs, and so on. So beginner team composition that will help you a lot succeed capturing Illuvials. So what I like to do is go for rogues, bulwarks, and fighters. Why is that so? Because rogues and fighters are by far your best damage source early on. Scion are not going to be very consistent. Empath are just going to support your units. That you don't need really till the late game. What you need for the early game is tankiness, so that's bulwarks, and then damage, which is either rogues or fighters. If you don't want to bring bulwarks, you might be best off by just bringing fighters because they can take a little bit more damage than the rogues. So if you're playing rogues only, you might want to bring some tanks for them because they can be very squishy, similar to the scions to your mages. But if you're playing around fighters, you can actually get away with bringing no bulwarks and just maximizing fighters and just placing 5-7 fighters on the board. And this gives you a lot of damage and also enough tankiness to beat most stage 1, stage 2 encounters. Once you get to stage 3, you might want to think about getting a little bit of a rounder team composition with actually bringing empaths, maybe scions, and so on. A little bonus tip, you can see right here, I can bring 8 different Illuvials. I have a really good setup. I'm really happy about this. This is optimized for the Crimson Waste, by the way, because I'm bringing a lot of water and earth units, which is really good against fire and earth units, which you mainly find in Crimson Waste. So if you want to specifically hunt, for example, for a Rampfire, you actually want to optimize your deck for that specific area. So for Crimson Waste, I'm going to bring water and earth units. But what I wanted to talk to you about here is this drone augment, the Index Capacitator. I'm bringing the Advanced Index Capacitator, which is going to give you 4 extra Illuvial slots. Because you might have noticed when you start out, you don't have this drone augment yet. You only have 4 Illuvial slots. But you can actually bring 8 Illuvials into a fight. So if you want to have a full board, you need at least an Advanced Index Capacitator. There is one more stage above this, the Supreme Index Capacitator, which is going to allow you to bring 6 extra Illuvials. Then you have a total of 10 Illuvials, 2 extras, and then you have a little bit more flexibility. For example, I'm fighting a nature encounter. Oh, I'm going to bring all those Earth Illuvials that I brought, and then I'm fighting a For example, water encounter. Oh, okay, now I'm gonna bring all my nature illuvials to counter them. And without that, you're not gonna be able to beat stage 3 encounters, and stage 2 encounters might be very hard as well. Alright, now you are prepared to jump in the Illuvium Overworld. If you also wanna see how the end game looks like and how I beat and capture one of the most rare illuvials in the game, check out this video right here. I'm gonna be going through my full thought process and explain you everything there is to know about beating those hard encounters.